Right. Okay. So we have here Ultramarine Violet. This is a brilliant purple. It's, we might not use it. Prism Violet and white. No need to use all of this. I'm just showing you the difference in colors. I will use Prism Violet and probably mix it with white after, just for you to see what Prism Violet looks like. It's a nice color. But most of the time, for this right now to match whatever we have here, Ultramarine Violet and white is perfect. So I mixed Ultramarine Violet with white, because Ultramarine Violet by itself, it's dark. We don't need to go that dark with this one here. We're going to go mid-tone and then highlight the mid-tone. So again, I'm using flat or bright, small one. And I'm just going to go with the corner of my brush, just kind of a suggestion. A bit, just give it color. Any purple will do, or pink, any color you like. It doesn't have to be only purple. Let's put a couple here. And we're going to highlight some of these. So it changes the whole look. I'm going to go a bit dark as well. Just darken a bit the purple. Pull some of the Ultramarine Violet by itself with the, just to give it depth. All right, let's go here.
Blue.
It does look blue, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. It's. Are you using Ultramarine Violet?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ultramarine Violet is a purple on the blue side, not
really blue.
not the red.
Looks like ultramarine blue,
Yes, that's what I thought.
like with white, but anyways,
No, shouldn't.
yeah.
On the screen, that's the color it looks.
Oh, on the screen. Oh, yeah. That's because of the camera and the. Yes, no. It's not ultramarine blue. Okay, I see. I glanced at the screen right now. Yeah, you're right. It looks like blue on the screen. It's not blue. It's purple. Is this better?
Looks a bit more purple, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the blue is pretty though.
Actually, I do. I like the blue too.
Yeah, I like the blue as well. Oh, well, too late now. I've started with the purple.
Doesn't matter. Whatever you like. Whatever you want to add some ultramarine blue, go for it. That's what's nice about painting. You just do whatever you like. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start highlighting, adding more white to this.
Yeah.
And using the corner of my brush, dab. I'm dabbing with the corner of the brush. You could use Q-tips, you could use whatever you like, but I think the corner of the brush works very well too. These flowers, they soften the stairs too. They make it look less harsh. Beautiful, really nice, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to add a couple in here. So just because I don't want the purple to be on just bottom part, just a couple, not much, a couple of dabs here and there of very small amount of purple. Okay, now let me show you Prism Violet. Prism Violet is more on the red side. See that, more like, I'm gonna put white in that. It's a beautiful color. It's really, really nice too. It's a purple, reddish purple. Can put a couple in here. And maybe a couple up here. Just a couple of dots. Okay. Good. That's all we need. It's more than enough. Okay, for this part, what we're going to do, this one here, I'm going to finish this part. Let's take raw umber, ultramarine violet, Naples yellow, and white. What are you going to do? Basically, we have ultramarine violet right now and white. What we're adding is raw umber and Naples yellow. So I'm going to take raw umber, mix it with ultramarine violet, just to give it more of a purple kind of base, cooler base. You don't have to, you could just use it just the way it is. Just ultramarine violet, I mean raw umber. But I like to go dark with this first layer. And I am dabbing. Why? Because I want texture. If I do it smooth, it will work, but this will add to the texture if we do it that way.
That's raw umber and the violet mix.
Yes.
Okay.
Because sometimes, even if you are highlighting over it, you will see sometimes what's underneath. And it helps if it's textured as well. It's not smooth. And it's okay. It's not that great, important. The edge of, outer edge of the canvas. Now turn my brush around. It helps also with shadow, like a shadow of those plants over the ground, on the ground. And when you have a dark background first, it helps with that. Wow, it looks really dark on the camera. Ah. You take, meanwhile, a bit of white and raw umber, Naples yellow, and just finish the wall right here. Okay. Now I just want to wait for this to dry before I start adding the next layer. Okay. Let's see if I can use a round brush, not too small. And I'm going to take now raw umber, use Naples yellow instead of white, because I think raw umber and white is too strong for raw umber, and it makes the raw umber look more gray. But if you put yellow in it, not the yellow like the Naples yellow, because Naples yellow is softer. It's more like a pastel kind of yellow. It's like an off-white with yellow in it. It's better than yellow white. Just white with raw umber, I find it a bit harsh. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Second layer, same idea. Go a bit darker. Darken a bit. That's too light. It's gonna go. I'm sure it will dry darker. Of course, it will dry darker. I would like to see some of these. I'm leaving some of the dark background showing through in some areas. I'm not covering it completely. I'm going to take here and there, in not everywhere, a bit of ultramarine violet in there too, just to change the colors I'm using, so it's not all the same. And ultramarine violet is a transparent color, so it's not a heavy one. It won't take over. Okay, that's nice. So you see, I see some of the layers here, some of the brush strokes have yellow in them, and some of them have ultramarine violet. Nice.
You're just dabbing, right?
Yeah, I'm dabbing.
Right, here we go. Okay.
Okay. Let's take some now raw umber with yellow, Naples yellow. Now, for now, my brush strokes or my dabbing is wide. Like it's the length of Okay, I'll show you in a minute. This is okay. Now we're dabbing, so it's fine. It's not, we don't have to be careful how the size, the shape of the stones or the ground here that we don't want it to be too textured. Because I'll tell you why, because this is too textured in here. It will take away from it. So we're going to soften the texture of on the ground and keep the highlight where the staircase is, with the steps, where the steps are, around the steps. So we're not going to expand the highlight all the way to the end. Okay, I like this texture, it's good. It's nice.
Did you add any white or is it no white?
It's the Naples yellow, no white. It's
Okay.
just Naples yellow. That's what's giving that highlighted look, like the light color. That's what's making the raw umber light. It's the Naples yellow. Okay. Okay, now, so you choose your brush according to the size of your canvas. So I'm using a small brush because I'm 8 by 10, really small, like surface here. But if you have a bigger canvas, you want to go a bit bigger with your brush. So now what I'm going to do you want me to stop before I start highlighting more?
You can give us a little bit of time just to.
Sure.
Yeah, couple of minutes.
No problem, no problem. Okay, so now we're gonna start highlighting a little bit more. So raw umber, Naples yellow. Okay, keep ultramarine handy, ultramarine violet handy, because we're gonna put a bit in here, highlighted ultramarine violet. And I'm gonna start where the light is. So I want this to follow the steps, the highlights in here. So this is a cup, this is kind of light, but not enough. And what's important here, because I'm highlighting now, let me put some white in here so you can see it. Let's add a bit of white. A tiny bit, tiny, when I say white, really tiny bit. White is strong. Okay, now, because I'm highlighting, if I make this pattern or texture this way, all of this area is going to tip forward. So what I need to do, if I'm putting pebbles in here, I need to put them narrow and long, narrow and long, narrower than this, especially here. I mean, when I get to this part down here, I can tip a bit, I can make them wider. But for now, oh, let me change my. Yeah, that's better. Takes a little bit more time and work in here, but it will look really good. This is glazing right now. I'm glazing this area because this is where the shadow area is. I don't want it to be too light. These plants will cast a shadow over where they are. And now I'm gonna go back and highlight a little bit more. Actually, I'm gonna add raw umber at this point. Ultramarine violet. And a bit of white. Wet my brush. So when I wet my brush, really? Seriously? Not good. There we go. When I wet my brush, what it does is it makes my paint thinner. So it's not heavy and it covers too much. It will be there, but it's not opaque, too opaque. I can see it's like glazing. Takes more time, but it looks good.
Is the direction linear?
Linear, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take raw umber, ultramarine violet, and my raw umber, and I'm going to come here. I'll show you down here. I'm trying to soften this cut between the steps and the earth or the ground right here. Because I'll explain why in a minute. Those steps, if there's light, this riser will cast a shadow over this part. It doesn't have to cast too much shadow, like wide one. But if you make a cut in here and you have a strong highlight and then dark, the contrast is too strong. So yellow, Naples yellow, white in my raw umber. Strong highlight in here are not necessary. I mean, it will look nice to have strong highlight, but it doesn't have to be, it's not the focal point, but I'm adding more white in here. But a bit of right around where the steps are, just in front of those steps, is a nice touch. I'm trying to make the bright area where there's a highlight. I'm trying not to have a sharp line. So I'm trying to make it more organic right here. The highlighted area where there is shadow meeting the highlighted area. Okay. Okay. Go sideways. Once we get to the side area here, I'm going to darken a bit right here. Okay. And there we go. This is good. So we don't want the side to be too light. There's no need for that. It just, this is the area where it should be light. The more we move away from the center where the steps are, the darker it should be. I'm dabbing. My brush stroke is dabbing. Doesn't have to be small dabs, could be wide dabs, that's fine. I'm gonna highlight a bit in here, or actually let it dry a bit so I can gauge how dark and how light I should go with my highlights. Now, let's go back. Meanwhile, let it dry, go back and continue working on this. Right in here. I'm gonna use a bigger brush. Okay. Let's add a couple of dabs of purple mixed with the light color that I'm putting in here. Just to create a texture, so it's not flat. All right, now let's go back. White, raw umber, Naples yellow. Now I'm going to add a bit more white to this area here. That's white mixed with original highlighted colors that I'm using, which is raw umber, Naples yellow, and white. Okay. My smaller brush and go back to dark, so I could take just raw umber and ultramarine violet, and just put a couple of specks of dark in here. The ground is not 100% clean in there, right? It's nature. Perfect. Now, change my brush. I'm going to pick up ultramarine violet and white. This is the color of the flowers that we were putting in here. And I'm going to add a couple in here. Any purple that you've been using, just add a bit of that color in here too on the ground. This is colored. Oh, there's green. Sap green. I'm just going to use the Naples yellow I have here to highlight my sap green. I don't want to get cadmium yellow now. I just want to add a couple of greens in here. Highlight it. Highlight a couple. And that's it. We're good. Yep. Perfect. I'm going to zoom in here and keep it there. Okay, so if you want to add a vine on this wall, I would add a very simple line in here. This is too thick right now. Yeah. Thinner. Just a hint. And then just a couple. Honestly, this line here should be, let's say, raw umber with a bit of Naples yellow, whatever you have in here, so it doesn't stand out too much. It's there. It might look like a crack in the wall. Yeah. And even if you don't want to do the lines first, just put a couple of greens floating and then put the line in between after. It's up to you, but very simple. Nothing really. Not too much. That's it. Don't put too much in there. There's no need. Just a bit. Okay. Just a bit. I mean, even if you want to do kind of another one that just comes this way. That's it. It won't overlap too much with the wall because you have more wall, right? Yeah. So it won't overlap with this. Like what I have here, it will be a bit more further back, but it will kind of take care of that wall, extra wall that you have on your canvas.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you
Just
go all the
visual.
way to the top of the wall or stop?
I would take it all the way to the top, but very thin, and not too, yeah, not too heavy.
Okay.
Very thin at the, see, this is imagine this is the wall. It
Yep.
ends there. See how, I mean, it could be here. Very thin.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.